The decision to leave was made out of a need to protect my own heart. It wasn't about abandoning you, but about finding a way to heal from the pain we both endured. I walked away because staying was no longer an option for my mental health. It was a choice made out of necessity, driven by a deep need for self-care. Leaving was a decision born from the understanding that our relationship had become a source of constant distress. I had to step away to find my own sense of peace. I had no choice but to walk away because the love we shared was overshadowed by the pain and turmoil. It was a decision made with a heavy heart, but clear intention. The choice to leave was made after much contemplation. It was about protecting myself from further hurt and recognizing that our relationship was no longer healthy. I walked away because staying meant compromising my own happiness. It was a difficult decision, but it was necessary to preserve my own well-being. Leaving wasn't about giving up on us. It was about recognizing that our love had become a source of pain rather than joy. I had to step away to find healing. I had to leave because our relationship had reached a point where staying was no longer beneficial for either of us. It was a decision made out of a need for self-preservation. The decision to walk away was not taken lightly. It was a result of acknowledging that our connection had become more harmful than fulfilling, and I needed to protect myself. I walked away because staying was only prolonging the inevitable pain. It was a heart-wrenching decision, but it was necessary for my own emotional well-being. Leaving was about choosing to prioritize my own happiness over the relationship. It wasn't about abandoning you, but about finding a way to heal and move forward. I had no choice but to walk away because the emotional toll was too great. It was a decision made out of necessity to protect my own mental health. The decision to leave was driven by the realization that our relationship had become a constant source of hurt. I had to step away to find my own path to healing. I walked away not because I didn't care, but because I had to take care of myself. It was a decision made with the hope of finding peace and rebuilding my own life. Leaving was a painful but necessary step to protect my own heart. It was about choosing to heal from the hurt that had become a part of our relationship. I had to walk away because staying was no longer an option for my emotional health. It was a decision made out of deep self-respect and a need for personal growth. The choice to leave was born from the understanding that our relationship had become a source of more pain than joy. I had to step away to find a healthier path. I walked away because I realized that the relationship was causing more harm than good. It was a decision made from a place of self-care and the need to heal. Leaving was a difficult decision, but it was essential for my own well-being. It was about choosing to protect myself from further emotional damage. I had no choice but to walk away to preserve my own sanity. It was a heart-wrenching decision, but it was necessary for my own emotional and mental health. The decision to leave was made with the understanding that our love had become overshadowed by constant pain. I had to step away to find my own peace and happiness. I walked away because staying would have meant continuing to hurt. It was a choice made with a clear understanding of what was best for my own well-being. Leaving wasn't about giving up. It was about recognizing that our relationship had become more harmful than loving. I had to step away to protect my own heart. I had to walk away because staying was no longer an option for my mental health. It was a decision made with a deep need to prioritize my own happiness. The decision to leave was driven by the realization that our relationship was causing more pain than joy. It was a choice made out of necessity to find peace. I walked away because I realized that staying would only lead to more emotional turmoil. It was a difficult decision, but it was necessary for my own healing. Leaving was a painful but necessary step to protect myself from further hurt. It was about choosing to prioritize my own well-being over the relationship. I had no choice but to walk away to find a place where I could heal. It wasn't about abandoning you. It was about finding a way to rebuild my own life. The decision to leave was made from a place of self-care. I had to step away because the relationship was no longer healthy for either of us. I walked away because staying was no longer an option for my own peace of mind. It was a choice made with a heavy heart, but clear understanding of what was needed. Sometimes walking away is the only way to preserve your own peace of mind. I left not because I wanted to, but because staying would have meant losing myself. I had to walk away not because I didn't care, but because I realized that loving you meant hurting myself. My decision was a painful but necessary one. The hardest part of leaving was realizing that my love wasn't enough to fix what was broken. I walked away because I had to choose my own well-being. Leaving wasn't about giving up. It was about recognizing that we were trapped in a cycle of hurt that neither of us could escape. I had no choice but to go. My heart ached as I made the decision to walk away, but I knew staying would only prolong the suffering for both of us. Sometimes love means knowing when to let go. I walked away because I had to honor my own boundaries. It wasn't about you or me failing. It was about protecting my heart from further damage. Leaving was never a reflection of how I felt about you. It was a decision born from the realization that we were both losing ourselves in this relationship. I chose to walk away because the pain of staying was greater than the pain of leaving. It was a heartbreaking decision, but it was the right one for my soul. Walking away was a last resort, a decision made after countless attempts to fix what was broken. It was my way of protecting myself, and ultimately, you. I didn't leave because I stopped loving you. I left because I needed to protect my own heart. Sometimes, the hardest decisions are the ones made out of self-love. The decision to walk away wasn't easy. It was a result of recognizing that our love had become a source of pain rather than joy. I had to step away to heal. Sometimes walking away is the only way to break free from a cycle of hurt. I made this choice not out of anger, but out of a deep need to find peace. Leaving was a heart-wrenching decision made from a place of deep self-awareness. I had to step back to save myself from further emotional damage. I walked away because I realized that staying would mean compromising my own happiness. It wasn't about abandoning you, but about finding my own path to peace. Leaving was an act of self-preservation. It wasn't that I didn't care. It was that I had to prioritize my own mental and emotional health. I had to walk away because love wasn't enough to overcome the challenges we faced. It was a decision made out of necessity, not a lack of feeling. Sometimes, the only way to love someone is to step back and let them find their own way. I walked away to give us both the space we needed to grow. I left not because I wanted to, but because I had to. Our relationship had reached a point where staying would only cause more pain for both of us. Walking away was an excruciating decision, but it was made from a place of deep reflection. I needed to leave to preserve my own sense of self-worth and happiness. The choice to walk away was born from a profound realization that we were both trapped in a cycle that we couldn't break. I had to leave to find my own peace. I walked away because I realized that our relationship had become more about pain than about love. It was a decision made out of necessity, not out of a lack of feeling. Leaving wasn't about abandoning you. It was about protecting myself from further hurt. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is step away and let go. I had no choice but to walk away. The love we shared was overshadowed by the pain, and I needed to find a path where I could heal and grow. The decision to leave was one of the hardest I've ever had to make. It was driven by the realization that our relationship had become a source of constant struggle. I walked away because I had to prioritize my own well-being. It wasn't about giving up on you. It was about finding a way to heal from the hurt. Leaving was not a decision made lightly. It was a result of recognizing that our relationship had reached a point where staying would only cause more damage. I had to walk away because staying would have meant losing myself in the process. It was a painful decision, but it was necessary for my own emotional health. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is to step away. I walked away not because I didn't care, but because I had to take care of myself. The decision to leave was about protecting my own heart from further pain. It was a difficult choice, but it was made with the hope of finding peace. I walked away because I realized that our relationship had become a source of emotional turmoil. It was a decision made from a place of self-respect and love. Leaving was not a sign of weakness. It was a sign of strength. I had to choose myself and my own happiness over the pain that had become a constant in our lives.